And we are live. I'm Adam. This is Highly Articulated. I even started ahead of time because I'm so excited to do this episode to chat with this person. Most people know him. I think everybody knows him that's watching my show, at least. So without further ado, I will bring him on. He is a well-known YouTuber, now with a media empire that includes multiple YouTube channels, a website, an online store, a small online store, so on and so forth. But you know him, you love him. Jay, what is going on?
Hello. You put me on way too high a pedestal. I'm not worthy of such kind words. Adam,
I would disagree. I would disagree. I left out the part where I was planning to say that you are one of my favorite YouTubers and that you have one of the very few shows that I really try not to miss on a weekly basis. So I'm absolutely honored to have you on. Thank you for joining me today.
Well, I thoroughly appreciate it and excited to be here as well. I think it's cool to like get to talk to you in real life versus like seeing your icon like in the chat. Like plus, like it's so much. I really dig the community that's developed in the toy tuber world, especially in these live streams and stuff like that. And there's so many names I'm seeing in the chat right now. It's like I've known now for years, and it's great to like actually talk to you IRL, as the kids say. After all that time. So yeah, super pumped as well.
Absolutely. I mean, I can kind of echo that from the other side, where it's sort of, I started a channel after watching shows like yours, and commenters that I would sort of chat with in the live chat are now people commenting on my videos and people that I'm having conversations with sort of outside of the videos. And it's a ton of fun. We're going to talk about, we're going to talk about YouTube. We might talk about toy stuff too. But I'm honestly, when I was sort of thinking about what we were going to chat with, or what I wanted to chat with you about, I generally on these Sunday videos do kind of toy news and sort of chat about toy news. But I realized you're going to be doing that in a few hours anyway. So I didn't want to have you, have to repeat yourself. So I think we'll just have a pretty casual chat, and then everybody that's here can, have a little nap and then jump over onto your channel and get their actual toy news.
I will say, I've been like in this turtle mindset. I'm trying to get this turtle review done. I don't even know what we're going to talk about tonight on Toy Geeks. So like you could bring up news topics we could talk about, because I have no idea exactly what I don't know what the main topic's going to be. I have an idea of what the big news things are, but I really don't know what the main topic will be. So if people in the chat have like good ideas for a main news topic tonight, let me know, because I haven't decided yet.
Speaking of the chat, let's just jump in here. It's already rocking. Sam Rock is here. Payne's Toy Samples is hanging out. Smiler67, My Buddy's Customs, Jeremy J from Authority Figure and Animal Warriors of the Kingdom. Renato is here. Jeff Morris. Jeremy says, I demand the presence of Ken Poe. He knows I'm doing the video, so we'll see. I expect he'll be here at some point. But Radical Toys, Ray Paz, my good friend Eddie. What's up, Eddie? The golden age of toys is what Eddie always says. David Williams is here. Silver Kayla Silva is also here. Welcome, welcome, welcome to everybody. And anybody that wasn't commenting, you're welcome to be here as well. Happy to have everybody. Like Will Schmidt, who jumped in right at the last second there. All right, let's get right into it. Sure. Jay, how and why did you get into doing a YouTube channel? You started like 2019, end of 2019?
Yeah, into 2019. So it kind of goes back to starting podcasting. So I've been podcasting, true podcasting. Some people think like this on YouTube is podcasting. Yeah. I'm kind of old school, and I don't think it's podcasting, but it back in the day when podcasts first came on iTunes in 2005, I started a podcast about the TV show Lost, and it became fairly big at the time because there really wasn't anybody doing it, and that was like my first thing that creating content online to be consumed in that form, podcast wise. And then having done that for many years, I kind of just got bored with it and kind of fizzled out on that. And so kind of after a couple years of not really doing anything, I just kind of had that creative itch, just being somebody that likes to make things. And so I was like, you know what? I've done the audio thing. I've done audio only. I would love to learn how to edit videos and actually do as a video medium. And that's was, the I guess the start of the YouTube channel thing. And there's tons of YouTubers that I watch. I watch YouTube probably the most on TV. Like my TV for the most part is YouTube. And so I was like, I want to try this. And before the pandemic in 2019, the whole Geek Dad Life thing was going to be like, yeah, exactly. Yeah, she's been listening to me for almost 20 years. But the pandemic kind of hampered the original idea of Geek Dad Life, which was it'd be like, oh, this will just be like we'll go on adventures with the family or whatever, and or whatever happens that part of my Geek Dad Life or one of those three things. But the pandemic hit and you couldn't really do anything. And I always knew toy collecting was going to be a part of it because that's that's one of the biggest things I'm geeky about. But then it became the only thing, and that's kind of where the audience built out of, and and kind of found a footing. And then the Toy Geeks thing, or the live stream thing, was a few ideas kind of merging together. And John and I had an idea for a podcast called Toy Geeks. We started out as a podcast for a little while, but then I did a live stream with him, and it worked so freaking well. And I was like, let's just do the podcast thing as like a live stream, you and I. And then that's how that got started as well.
So, John, your partner in crime for Toy Geeks, how long have you known him? Was that something that you just knew each other and sort of decided to do the videos, or was that sort of a project that had been in the works for a while? Or
well, it's so I've known John for almost a decade. I think it'll be 9 years this September, as friends. Like I knew him before that because he's been a toy dealer forever, and he would set up at the Raleigh Toy Show. There's one that happens at the fairgrounds here, and so I knew him just as somebody I would buy toys from. But in 2014, I had bought this huge toy collection that included the USS flag that I still have now. And it was a ton of money for that collection. It had so many things I already had, like Castle Grayskull, Transformers, Motu, all this kind of stuff. And the only way I could convince my wife, who just had a child, this was 6 weeks after having a child, that I
Classic.
could buy this collection of toys was like, don't worry, I'm just gonna keep the flag and sell everything else, and we're gonna double our money. This is like I'm actually making money on this deal.
Right, right.
So I had
This
to
is
follow through
it.
with that.
It benefited her too, right? That's the sales pitch. Like
That was the pitch. I don't know if
we've
she's
both
ever
come
bought
out of
that.
this with something, right? There's a
Um,
little more cash, you know. I can
yeah,
relax.
exactly. I think all the extra cash probably went into more toys, probably
Yeah,
knowing me. But
probably.
so I set up at that toy show, and then he was set up there, and we just hit it off. Like John's like, I think everyone hits it off with him. He's just a genuinely one of the nicest people on earth. Really genuine. Would do anything for you. So yeah, just we kind of hit it off at that show. And then, it was we'd always have a fun time hanging out at the shows. And then we would do like, getting drinks. A few of us toy dealers will get drinks once a week. Just have like a guys' night out kind of thing. And then we started a toy show together in Raleigh. Jay,
Right.
did you actually? I probably like quadrupled my money, but again, I just spent it on more toys.
Yeah.
But yeah, and we started a toy show in Raleigh, which was a ton of fun. And that's how I got to know some other toy tubers like Dan Larson, because we invited him to be guests at our toy convention here in Raleigh. And so like while in just conversations, like, oh, we should do a toy podcast, because we hated, I don't want to say we hated, but it was like there's not a toy podcast that would podcast the way we would want to do it.
Sure. Yeah.
And anyway, so that's how us doing a show like this was the idea anyway. But like a lot of people with friends like, we should do a podcast about XYZ thing. It doesn't always work. But I will say, just John, with like no experience whatsoever doing anything like that, just as a co-host on a show, like he's a natural. Like he doesn't talk over you. Like he knows he has a feel for the conversation, knows when to chime in. Like it's something that some people take years to get. He like instantly got. And I think it's what made it work so well so quickly.
You make a very interesting point, because like I think a lot of people start YouTube channels because they see another channel and they go, I could do that. But I was collecting toys but not really following toy tubers at all. And I used to watch a lot of comedy podcasts, like where comics will have their podcasts and things like that. And one thing that they would say all the time, and I would think it, you hear comedians tell jokes and you're like, I could do that. Like, I'm that funny. And their whole thing is that like, yeah, but you don't, and no, you couldn't. Like you think you're funny when you're with the 10 people that you're good friends with, because you all have the same sense of humor. The room is very conducive to your sense of humor. I think the same is true with YouTube, right? You can think that you're a good, you can think that you're good at communicating ideas. You can think that you're good at having a conversation with people. It doesn't always work. And you mentioned John being sort of a good sort of balance between you and John. I rewatched your first episode, and I was shocked that it had such a good balance right from the jump. So I think you're absolutely right. I mean, there's just so much chemistry between you guys. And it works really well, because you talk too much and he doesn't talk enough, so it kind of balances. It kind of balances really well.
And it's, for me, it's like being the person that's always like editing in my mind even while I'm talking. I'm always racing against the clock, It's just like, I gotta get this in, we gotta get this in so we can get on to the next thing. I don't want this to be a 4-hour show, and for better or worse, that's my approach. Like, I think there's an argument to be made that you can have a more casual, leisurely conversation, and that's good too. I just always, and maybe it's the performer in me, just being a musician and playing live and understanding live audiences, like just feeling like, oh, I'm losing them. We gotta pick it up, gotta pick up the pace, kind of thing. And he's just so adaptable. So adaptable. I could throw anything at him and he would have an answer. And doesn't like I could throw any question to him and he comes up with like a really intelligent answer.
So you got lucky, I would say, in a lot of ways. I mean, you got John as a co-host for starters. Um, lucky and unlucky, I guess, because you had an intention of what you wanted to do with the channel, but that very quickly didn't work. Like you said, the pandemic hit, and what was there a pivot, or were you just sort of like, this is just what we're doing now? We're just going to go with this.
I think there is something to like if you're starting on a YouTube channel, and I will say, like, I'm not saying that you are either good at it or you aren't, and you can't ever get good at it, because I think the advice I give is realize that it's very unlikely you jump into it and you're perfect day one. Like, it just takes time. It takes practice, like anything. And people, and even the YouTube thing, I came into it with 15 years of podcast experience, and
Right.
that was like a learned skill over hours and probably thousands of hours of doing that. And so having that skill, but even coming into it with that, you can go watch earlier videos of mine and they're awful. Like, I hate them. I'm so boring, and there's a difference between like just audio and then visually having a conversation, like making it stimulating and being engaging, and how do you like it. And so even I look back at myself, and it took time to get better, and I still feel like I'm always trying to improve. Like right now I'm editing a video review of those turtle toys.
Right
And
now?
well, not at this very moment, but like leading up to here. And even in those, like, I'll watch and just create down like, I shouldn't have done that. That could be better. And just like, it's just always that continual, like, trying to better yourself. And so if anybody's feeling like I want to do it, but realize you got to do the thing. You're going to be clunky at first, but if you keep at it, you'll get better and better as time goes on.
Yeah. I mean, you got to find what works for you too. I think there's a danger of trying to be something that you're not.
Yes.
And trying to kind of overachieve too early, and sort of having an expectation that you're going to hit the ground at a full sprint and that everybody's going to be on board. Now you mentioned, videos that you don't absolutely love anymore. Do you have a favorite video that you've done, and conversely a least favorite video?
One of my favorites is the review I did for this Castle Grayskull. It was an early one, but it was when they started hitting in Canada before they came to the States. And it was still relatively early on in the channel. And I had this, back then I'd be like, oh, I'll just buy it on eBay. I'll pay whatever price because I need to get in and get a review so I can, stand out amongst the others. Right. And so I paid, I don't know, $300 probably all in to ship it from Canada to the US.
What?
And,
I hope
had
that's
a full time
dollars.
Well, yeah, I don't the eBay conversion. I think it was like my $300 for me all in shipping and buying it. So, it gets in. I worked a full day, so I get home, dinner with the kids, and then straight into like trying to do a review of this thing. And the opening of it, I did I shot everything of like assembling it and everything. But then I did like my intro video, like my talking head video. And I was just so enamored with the thing. I hugged it. I was like, this thing's amazing. And but it was like pure joy, and it wasn't like an acting thing. And I really love that intro. And it's one of my favorites. And there's been a few times where like or just try to your point, like be yourself. That was like a true moment of like just being myself captured, and kind of informed the way I wanted the rest of my videos to go. So that one's a favorite. Kayla Silva, the crotch rocket Punisher is another favorite. that for some reason didn't take on with the YouTube algorithm, but I love that one because, you know, Dan Larson from Secret Galaxy messaged me and was like, Jay, that was like one of the best videos I ever seen. And like to hear that from him, somebody that, you know, I hold in such high
Right.
regard, meant a ton. But so there's a few out there that I really do love. There's something I love in each and every one of them. What's one I hate? See, I'd have to go back in time. And I would say I did. Oh god, again, just to go back to the early days of this channel. I haven't like hid them or anything, so I will let my crap shine, warts and
Have
all.
you deleted anything off the channel? Or once
The
it's
only
there,
things
it's...
I've deleted are like if I get a copyright something or another,
Mm-hmm.
or like that's the only time I'll take something off. Um, but I did this video. I did 2 reviews of Mandalorian, like in 2019,
Mm-hmm.
and they're so bad. And then I did one after the Joker came out. I did like the top 5 Joker move or Batman movies or something like that, and it's so boring. It's awful. The editing's terrible. I have a bad thing with like filler words, and I was just umming and on all over the place, and I hate that one.
Was that a case of it seemed like a good time to put that video out, so you just kind of...
Yeah, I was just like, I'm going to talk about TV. I'm going to talk about
Yeah.
film. I'm going to talk about toy collecting. I'm going to talk about everything. And
Mm-hmm.
there's this like YouTube theory of like niching down, like
Yeah.
finding your audience. But I think there's a counter to that eventually, which I haven't figured out yet. Of if you need, yes, you want to find your niche, which is great, but the thing with a niche is it can only go so big.
Yeah.
And then figuring out what is beyond toy collecting, if that ever is a thing, I don't know. But
Right.
it's like Dan Larson, Toy Galaxy figured out perfect, where transitioned from toy reviews to just pop culture reviews,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but still does the toy stuff on Dan Larson channel.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like that's the thing to figure out, because YouTube's a fickle beast.
So you have Geek Dad Life 2. You have a second channel. Is that where you've kind of moved all that stuff that's not
Pretty
sort of
much
directly toy related to that channel?
Yeah, and that was like, you know, because I would do videos talking about movies and stuff, like Screen Geeks or whatever. And you know, nobody would watch them. And then or people would watch them. I'm saying nobody would watch
that's
them.
not fair. I've watched a lot of them.
I appreciate that. But like whatever, the YouTube would get pissed, and if not as many people watched it, then it would like hurt the other videos, and then like people would unsubscribe to Geek Tech Life whenever I posted one of those videos. And it's so weird. So I was like, I'm just gonna spin off and have a channel that's just TV and film, and that's where I'll talk about that stuff. So people if they want to watch it, cool. And if it's like, I just want you to hear you talk about toys, then that can be there.
I just want Motu and Ghostbusters and Super Soaker reviews.
Yeah, like it's so funny how that stuff works. Plus, just funny how YouTube works, where I think people probably consider or connect me most with Motu, and I love Motu. Don't get me wrong, I do, but it's not my number one love. My number one love is Ghostbusters. Then we probably Turtles, then probably Back to the Future, then Star Wars, then Motu. Probably like is how I'd rank it, but just the way the algorithm works, like you're a Motu guy.
Right. Well, that was, I mean, I had that on my list of questions. What's your favorite line or your favorite sort of IP? You answered that.
Ghostbusters. Like Ghostbusters, head and shoulders above everything else. And then you could probably interchange any of the ones below that. So like Star Wars, X-Men, Motu, Turtles. Like I love a lot of things. Like I don't pigeonhole into one thing. I love a lot of things. But number one is Ghostbusters, and everything else can change depending on the day.
Yeah, I would say that I'm the same way. Like it's if you ask me on the day that I get a shipment of toys, it'll probably be the IP that you know is the most prevalent in that box on that day, kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
because you kind of get in that mode, you kind of get in that
Mm-hmm.
zone, right? Like
Yeah.
I'll watch, I'll put GI Joe on the TV while I'm unboxing classified figures, or I'll put
Mm-hmm.
Dragon Ball on the TV while I'm watching I'm unboxing Figure Arts. And if you ask
Yep.
me in that moment, it's that thing that's in front of me is my favorite thing.
Yeah.
Which is kind of, it's kind of fun. It's kind of nice. I am a little bit jealous of the guys that are like, I only like one IP and one toy line that goes with it, because that's such a simple,
Yep.
it's so much easier to not be chasing after a release or following a
Yeah.
pre-order. Like, when is this going up? Am I going to be able to get it? On
Yep.
and on and on. Um,
Yeah.
is there a toy line or an IP that, you wish you could get into, but you've just, you've already got too much stuff?
Probably, I mean, you got some like the Four Horsemen stuff. Like I wish I
Yeah.
had time and money. And space, more space.
Space, yeah.
Um,
Space
and
Danger is real.
it's so real. I live in it under the constant threat of space danger.
Yeah.
But so yeah, a lot of the Four Horsemen stuff. I look on it longingly and lovingly. Big Four Horsemen fan. But just haven't at this point. Like there's just even things I love and collect. Like I just had this happen this weekend or Friday I went out and I found the new Mirage Turtle stuff. So like Splinter and Shredder and Foot Clan. And I was like, oh dude, I want these. Like I've had a few of the Mirage figures. I'm like, perfect, these are great.
Yeah.
And so I buy them, and then I'm just thinking to myself in the car, I was like, wait, I don't have room for these. I just
Yeah.
don't. Like I already have the 90s Turtles, which that's what I limit to myself just to 1990, not Secretive Ooze, not
Yeah.
Turtles 3. I have Super 7 and I have Vintage. And I have some of the Toon stuff, but I really have avoided the Toon stuff. It's like I can't do it. I'll never be able to do it the way I want to do it. And I went and I returned them. Anyways, so there's even things I like, I want them so bad, but I just have those. Like I just can't do it. It's impossible.
And people in the chat saying kind of the same thing about specifically, Mythic and Cosmic Legions, that it's a slippery slope. I mean, I got in late. I got in a couple of years back now, and I actually this morning was sort of purging a whole bunch of the boxes that I kept. But it's just, and I was sort of, I'd held on to them for so long, but I got to the point where I have so many that I was like, I can't keep all these. Like Space Danger is bad enough for the actual action figures out of the box. I'm gonna need that space that the boxes take up for more toys going forward. So yeah, I mean, that's Space Danger is the biggest one, because I mean, when your collection is big enough, I feel like it gets to the point where it can kind of sustain itself money wise, where you can, you've got enough shelves of things, things move to the bottom, things move to a bin. If you need a new thing, you've probably got a couple things you can sell off. So that's sort of, this is always my sort of binge season. Summer hits, and the kids are in the garage getting bikes and stuff to play outside. So I'm like, man, I have a lot of stuff in here that I haven't touched in 6 months. So so that's I'm I am a little bit surprised that Motu is like number 5 ish. Because I would say that you like you mentioned, like you're kind of labeled as a bit of a Motu guy. Now
and it's not being 5. Like if I had to force rank it, it's not, doesn't mean I don't love it. I just love a lot of things.
But also, let's be honest,
I'm
if you're a Ghostbusters
polyamorous to toys or whatever. Like I love them all. I want them all. So I truly love it. I do. But I think if I had to rank it by like amount of time that I've loved Star Wars, Turtles, Back to the Future longer. Or it's been a longer, more rooted love. I think I liked Motu growing up. Love the toys, love the mini comics. Didn't really dig the TV show, but I fell in love with Motu more 2000X, and then really head over heels during Motu Classics.
Sure.
So I think in that ranking, it's more of just like it's a more recent passion, I guess I should say, than those other ones that have been my favorites since I was 3, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, as far as toy lines go, connected to those IPs, like, Ghostbusters can be your favorite IP. It's criminally underserviced as far
Yeah.
as
Yep.
toys and collectibles and things like
Yeah.
that go. So I think in that same vein that we were talking about, if something's in front of me, it's kind of my favorite thing. They
Recency
are
bias is real.
pumping Motu stuff out.
Yeah.
Like it's
right.
every week there's something new, right?
Yeah.
Like that's for me the line that I sort of connect with the most in some level is GI Joe Classified, and that's only because we're getting a pretty steady diet now
Yeah.
of the figures.
Yeah.
It's no surprise to anybody that's watched the show before that I'm an absolute shill for AWOC, and it is without a doubt
it's such
my
a
favorite.
great line. I only have the one they sent me. I love it, and I'm getting another one at PowerCon this year. But it's a great line. It's really good.
No space though.
No, well, I'll find space for that because to me,
Yeah.
I'm gonna redo this area, and it's gonna be kind of like my modern shelves, and so there's a few different lines I want to do, but Animals of the Warrior Kingdom,
Animal Warriors of the Kingdom.
Animal Warriors of the Kingdom. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's one where maybe I won't go like every single figure ever released, but I definitely want like the mains and a few other ones, and then just have like a nice, neat little corner of like my modern section. Because that is like, and even more so to me than, and maybe this is sacrilegious to say, but like Mythic Legions or Cosmic Legions, like it connects to me more as like a story or like a thing that excites my imagination. Like it's a story. I don't know. It's just these are characters that have a story to tell, and it connects to me on that level. I'm not saying those other ones can't, but just for me personally, I feel like the designs, the characters, and the story resonate more with me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I did. So Brick Something and I actually do a video sort of based around the lore in the comic book, and that there should be a new one up this afternoon. He's got it edited. He said it's going to get posted soon, so stay tuned for that over on Brick Something's channel. But we both have the like it feels so like it feels weirdly nostalgic for a brand new
yes
IP.
Yeah.
Like it's toyetic. It feels like all the cartoons that we loved as kids.
Yeah.
Getting into it didn't feel like it was something new. It felt like I was getting back into something that I already knew.
Yes.
And it was like it's just the weirdest thing, and I absolutely love it. I was saying to you, why don't you have more AWOC content?
Well, I mean, and what's funny is that it's a lot of people have tried to do that thing what you just described. I've seen multiple toy companies say like, or new people coming up with a new IP or whatever, in that same kind of space, say like we're trying to create new stories and blah blah blah, and for whatever reason, I think they somehow have captured it with that toy line.
A lot of the lines that you're into, you tend to lean towards the nostalgia. Do you go more for the modern stuff now, or are you still sort of actively collecting and buying vintage stuff?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both. Like, I do lean towards nostalgia, with the understanding it's a dangerous drug.
Yeah.
But I think that it's that reconnection to something that I loved. That's awesome. That I love it, but I love it when it's like, but also somehow new. Yeah, it's like it's kind of like rediscovering it, and also being a dad and like getting to share those things with my kids. Like that's what has me excited about this TMNT stuff. Um, uh, like being able to take my kids to a Turtles movie is really exciting, and like all these new toys that are definitely new, but they definitely, you know, call back to the past. And so I'm getting like reliving the past by going out buying these toys, being excited to see a Turtles movie just like I was in 1990 or whatever. And but at the same time, it's something new that now my kids, if they want to or not, could also, you know, fall in love with Turtles. And so like everything that I've done, or at least focus on the channel, at least, is kind of like finding those things that reconnect to my past that are also things I could share with my kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what's fun. But yeah.
Yeah, I took my 7-year-old to see Into the Spider-Verse, and the Turtles trailer was up before that movie.
Yeah.
And it was like, all right, now we got the next movie that we can go to together. So I was super excited about that. And I you know, I think like it sounds, you know, like you feel the same way, that when there's these reimaginings and sort of reinventions of these IPs that we love, I don't think that diminishes my love for the 1987 cartoon, right? To have a new movie that they look different. You know, I hear, oh, they sound like kids, and I'm like, they're supposed to be kids. They kind of got it wrong the first time around.
Yeah.
Jeremy J says AWOC's 2023 Rookie of the Year, no question. I am strongly petitioning for that. I'm definitely pushing for that to be the case. I'm going to make a claim. You know, if that does not show up on the Jeffries ballot, I will be enraged. Paint says Atreyu is my figure of the year so far. Ray Pass says, I'm no shill, just a hardcore fan. I think it's a line that, you know, once you get in, it's hard not to love them. But anyways.
Yeah, 100% agree. Yeah.
You
I am not a shill. No, I'm kidding.
Well, let's sort of get into that aspect, because I am very curious, because I think, you know, you know, I've gone on other people's shows and whatever, and you know, when they have the name with sort of a bar underneath, I put Kidult, shill, because I think, you know, if you don't lean into those, you know, I don't know. I just think I think nobody takes us seriously outside of this community. So why should we take ourselves so much more seriously than anybody else? I think you have been kind of labeled a shill for Motu, which isn't even your favorite line.
Nope.
So, but you like me with AWOC, seem to lean into that, and you know, do you want to sort of lean into that a little bit more here and sort of address that and talk about it?
To me, I think it's more of it's that line from Princess Bride. It's like, that doesn't mean, I don't think that means what you think it means, you know, when that gets thrown around. I will too, Jeremy J. I will because they kind of do their whole nomination, like the Jeffries just happen in a dark room in Atlanta, you know, and they just kind of, and then they come out into the real world and like let us know the answers, but
they're like, here's
very top secret stuff.
It's like, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, but yeah, I'll try to push as well. But so to me, like those kind of taking a word like that and then like misapplying it to like way too many things is almost the example of you don't know what this word means or have any context to it. You just want to punch and punch down and just like make people feel like crap, or make people feel like you have to choose one or the other, or they're bad because they like something or what have you. And to me, it's like, I understand where that comes from, you know, like I've for the people that throw those words around or have this big problems with them, I've I know them, or I've been friends with them, and I know it's rooted in this like anti-corporate, you can't trust corporations or those kinds of things, and so I understand the root of it. But to me, the problem that I have is when you lash out at other people that are also affected by the corporate or overlords. So to me, there's always this thing that human beings do where there's like the ruling class or whatever. And what they prefer is like the people that are working class are fighting against themselves instead of, maybe challenging the status quo of what's above. And to me, like doing that, like throwing the shill where I like just infighting between us, like why are we like making it you versus them? It's just like we all love this stuff. And just because, we understand that there's a nuance to so like being, invited to press and stuff like that for a toy company doesn't mean that you're also bought out by said toy company. There's a lot more nuance to it than that. And some people just have to deal in absolutes and can't see the many layers between those two.
Yeah, I mean, I again, I have a very similar sentiment to you. I think, collect what you love and collect how you want and have fun, in whatever capacity. But yeah, there is sort of an element of, once there's infighting, it's sort of like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Like I have a tendency to just pull back anytime I hear and regardless of side, like because there does seem to be whether it's perceived or whether it's being played up or whatever, there does feel like there's almost like two sides. There's the people that kind of look at Hasbro and Mattel and kind of go, well, they are what they are. What are we supposed to do? And then the people that really kind of rally against them, for better or worse. I mean, it is what it is, right?
It's like you have to have it, there's nuance, so there's a balanced approach to it where corporations suck. Capitalism sucks. Sure, okay, but that's the system we got, and it's better than other systems. So, like, you kind of like, yes, it sucks, but this is what we have. So, would you rather just not have anything, and then work to make things better, but getting people fighting against other people, is not the solution. It's it's a lot. It takes a lot more work than that to happen, so like you saying like I'm a happy shill. I'm just like, it's more like you want to affect me or make me be pissed or to lash back out at you, but I'm not gonna, because I think that's silly. And that's what the thing that you're fighting against. You've kind of lost sight of it because we have a lot more in common than we have that divides us, and we should focus on that, not the differences that we have.
Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree.
Especially true in toys. Like I believe that among everything.
Yeah.
But it's especially true of toys that don't matter. It's just a stupid hobby.
Yes.
And it brings us joy. And in the whole, like, there's so much wrong in the world today. Like, why does the one thing is supposed to be a silly little thing that brings you joy have to also be this, you're this and you're the evil, blah, blah, blah. It's like, what are we doing?
I wonder sometimes if it's almost a reaction to that. Like, it's almost a reaction to the fact that these should bring us joy. And when they aren't, there's like extra incentive to go dark, to go negative, because when you do put those things together, right? Joy and corporations, they don't fit. That's not,
they're trying to get money to satisfy their board members or the stockholders.
Hasbro is not trying to bring you joy. Hasbro is trying to fill their bank account. There's no doubt about that. And I absolutely agree with that. They have a lot of very shady things that they do. But the brand teams bringing us cool toys are in a lot of ways not involved with that. The marketing teams are not involved with that. Like you said, the conversations that happen on Facebook groups or YouTube chats or whatever seem to be misguided, and they seem to be counterintuitive, because we all want those things. You know, we all want less expensive toys. We all want
Absolutely.
the release schedule to be
Yeah.
mapped out so that we can budget, so that we don't miss a pre-order, so that, you know, when there's you know, a Mattel Creations drop, or a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, or a Joe Fest exclusive, you know, whatever the thing is that you want to get, we all just want to be able to get it. That's really what it comes down to. And
Yeah.
yeah, I
I
mean,
do want to plus in Jay's chat, or J Max chat here, because to me, I do think it does stem from that too. This I think a lot of people just want clarity and honesty when they watch toy videos, and I think that's fair. But then there's, and again, none of us are journalists. Like I try to hold to that journalistic integrity thing. But to me, it's like, once you say like, this was provided by XYZ company, this is what they asked, you know, to make sure or whatever the rules are, as long as you do that, that's the same as any reviewer. Like people that review cars, they say, thanks to Honda for giving us this review sample to review. Thanks to Fender Guitar for sending us this guitar to review. Like that is true beyond toys all the time. Where it's shady, or where I think then you have an argument to be made, is when they're like, they're not telling you that this was given to them for free by whatever company, right? But if you're on up and say, hey, they sent me this to review, to me, like you're following the rules of transparency. And I think the problem is that other people are, no, still don't trust them because they're getting paid behind the scenes to say that they like something. And that's when you just get into conspiracy theory. And if you want to believe in that, then so be it. But I don't think it has.
Don't we all wish that was the case? Like,
right?
Don't we all wish that they were both sending us free toys and paying us without telling anybody?
That's also hugely unethical, by the way. Like the FCC would like shut you down. YouTube would shut you down if there was if they were paying you for an opinion. It's against the law. So we can say that's, but it's not. Maybe it does happen. I don't want to say I'm naive to the fact maybe it but it's incredibly illegal.
Yeah, and I mean, they did kind of crack down a little bit, right? By changing, you know, you have to say, is this for kids or not? And sort of the ad revenue through YouTube. They're kind of trying to weed that out. I'm sure there's still a little bit of that happening behind the scenes. I don't think it's happening in toys whatsoever, because toy manufacturers really just don't have that much profitability to be throwing cash at people to get them to lie. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But
also, I think Ray Paz feels bad if you call me a shill. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me at all. So please don't feel bad. Because I wear it like a badge of honor. It's kind of like I take away whatever thing you're trying to make me feel bad about, because I don't feel bad, because I know that I'm 100% honest and you know, can stand by the whatever. And then I just want to almost just like if somebody's being really like aggressive towards you, whatever, you just hand them a flower, or you just go like boop to their nose or something like that. Just like I'm not gonna fight. If you want to fight, that ain't gonna fight. That's not gonna happen.
Trevor 16 Shooter says the free toys do not make up in price for the time it takes to make
no
review.
Ask Colleen, my wife. Like, I've literally been editing this video. I've got 4 minutes done of this 11-minute video probably, and it's all I've been working on this since I got up at 7:30 this morning, went to Target, bought toys, shot video, and I'm like, I've got 4 minutes of 11 minutes done, and that's all I've done all day. All day.
That's the other very real reality of, you know, having a YouTube channel is like, are you still in your office? What are you doing? You're not even doing a video. You're just in there. It's like, well, I'm prepping. I got to do a thumbnail. I got to do this. I'm chatting with a person that I'm doing a video with, all that kind of stuff. Larry says, you know, people pay people to steal from the factory. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah. Yep.
But I mean, I guess it is what it is. I guess there's a dark side, you know, a black market
Sure.
to anything. What can you do? I guess.
Yeah.
But I appreciate, as I've said, your show is one of the shows that I never miss on Sunday nights, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern.
Eastern
Right?
Standard
Yeah, that's right.
Time.
Um,
I still don't know what tonight's show is going to be about. What do you think it should be, Adam? What should be the main story? What's the main topic tonight?
well, I didn't even pull it up, but I mean, I hope you'll pull up the graph today, Brian Brink's graph.
Oh yeah, definitely have to pull up the graph. But see, that's where I'm just like, I get in my head, like, is that good enough of a lead story? I need like a hot thing. And
you know what? I'll be honest. I never know what your like top story is going to be, but it never influences whether or not I'm going to watch the show.
See, you have a core audience that does watch, but then like the ones that are like really good topics get like 50% more views or 100% more views.
Yeah.
So there's just that mindset of like the regulars, yes, they'll show up no matter what. But it's like, how do I get to casuals? How do I get people that maybe listen every 4 weeks or something? How do I get them to click,
Allison Troy, graphs, then AWOC.
Boom, there we go.
Cat's Lair?
Yeah, I'm looking at like my own website. I was like, I don't know what the main story is this week. I really don't know.
That Super 7 Cat's Lair.
The Cat's Lair. Ooh, maybe that's it. I think it's Cat's Lair. I was hoping it'd be announced already.
Yeah.
So that we could really talk about it, but I guess we'll just have to like conjecture talk about it.
And I think, knowing Super 7, there could be a swerve too. And it could be like, that's the new card back for a new line of reaction figures.
Right. Well, I think Brick, I think in our Discord, he posted like, I'm pretty sure it's like confirmed. It's not going to be a reaction thing. It's going to be like an Ultimates thing.
And I mean, I think that's what everybody's hoping for. Or by everybody, I mean everybody that has bought all the Super 7 Ultimates.
It would be so. I don't know where you'd put it. It'd be. So I have the vintage one. There it is, right there. And that little thing right there is the Thunder Tank, right? I mean, my mic stands in the way. But yeah, so the little thing is the Thunder Tank, and then the big thing is the lair, right? But then think about, I have the Thunder Tank right up there. That's gigantic. So like if you were even just doing it same to the vintage scale different, it would take up like a whole wall, I feel like. Anyways, I think this is it. Adam, we're doing Cat's Lair. That's the lead story. Boom.
Where did it go? There it is. Allison Troy updated. Graph, AWOC, Cat Slayers, Calico Critters. Shout out to Abby from Yes House.
I know. People get pissed I don't talk about them, and like, I don't collect. It's Abby's thing. I don't. Even though it is one of those toy lines I've always like appreciated from afar.
As somebody that absolutely loves anthropomorphized animals, which is why I love AWOC. We had those in my household as a kid, and I absolutely loved them. Little flocked critters with outfits and tons of accessories. It was sort of everything that I loved, just not as action packed as I would have hoped for.
Well, it's kind of like there was those lines that because like, oh, it's more of a girl's toy or whatever growing up, and I loved a lot of like different girls' toys, but I had to. Like at least just growing up in the 80s and 90s, the only way like I could pull it off was if my sisters had the toys, right? And then I would play with them. But they were all about Barbies. So I definitely played a lot with Barbies and like all the cool, like the McDonald's Barbie sets, like all their sets, like loved them. But they never really got into Calico Critters. They never really got into other things. I was like, come on, just play with these, like get into these other things so I can play.
Ron DeLorean says, I'll admit, Abby got me hooked on Calico Critters.
They're amazing. They were at Spielwarenmesse and Messe. They had this huge, it was like a Comic-Con display of like, it was like a town. It was like, it was bigger than my room probably. It was insane. But
it's is it Sylvanian family still in Europe?
I think so. Yeah, it's called something else. That sounds
Yeah,
right. I
because
have a video of it.
it was always Sylvanian family when I grew up, and then when people were talking about calico critters, I was like, that sounds awfully similar to something called something different that I knew.
Yeah.
Um, Now, as far so you mentioned, that you people get upset that you don't talk about calico critters. And that
Mm-hmm.
was a question that I totally forgot. As far as news goes, both on your show
Mm-hmm.
and on the website, do you have to pick and choose what news you kind of put out? Do you tend to just stay with what you kind of know, or do you try to branch out? What's the process there?
A bit of both. It usually stays. I stay to like what I know and what I like,
Mhm.
but it still doesn't mean I don't like Colleen's done a really good job of like branching it out and just or at least tapping upon the things that people on the channel like even though we don't do a lot of videos on Transformer streams or whatever,
Mhm.
we still post about them on the website, things like that. And it's not to say I'm not a Transformers fan. I got a whole collection of G1 Transformers. I just haven't been as into the modern stuff.
Yeah.
I haven't been into buying Transformers since Armada, I think.
Okay.
Um, but so yeah, there's not like a we'll cover and we won't cover. But there is it's a bit of both, I guess. There's things that are within the wheelhouse of things we like to talk about.
Mhm.
Um, and then there's also just what does the audience like to talk
Yeah.
about? And trying to keep a balance of those things, if that makes sense.
And there's always something out of left field, like a Chester Cheetah action figure, where you're like, this doesn't make any sense to exist. So it's newsworthy
Yes.
in that respect.
But it's cool though, it's neat.
I love that figure. I love
Yeah.
cheesy. I love the fact that they included Cheetos dust on his fingers. Like
Yes.
it's a really good, really fun toy
Mm-hmm.
that I definitely need to have in my collection. Um, One more question here,
Okay.
and then we'll kind of wrap it up. Smiler67, do you feel having kids was fuel for your collecting fire? My collection exploded after having my daughter because I wanted to buy toys with her.
Yeah, I think there's like phases, and like having kids definitely one of the phases. But what was funny is the buying exploded, but also just like buying toys for them, not so much for my collection. Like they're just like what they were. If my boys get into something,
Mhm.
and then I'm like, let's go. You like Thomas the Train? I'm gonna go to the flea market. I'm gonna find every Thomas the Train that ever existed, and you're gonna have every
I did exactly
right.
that. We have
And so,
bins and bins of wooden trains.
yeah, same. And because like as a kid, grew up working class, didn't have a lot of money. I could, to me, like a wooden train table, that was like rich people toys. We didn't have that shit. But I was like, Mike you like trains? You want? Oh, you're gonna get trains. And so we have a big. It's all out there. They don't really play with it anymore. But went so. So I was like, you have a dad that collects toys. I'm gonna use my toy collecting powers to get you every damn one you ever want. But the thing that I realized kind of as time went on, they don't care as much as I care. And so it's realized like, I don't need to go that crazy.
No, our Bluey figure collection is phenomenal, and it has
Yeah.
nothing to do with them being like, we need this one
Mm,
now. It's more like, hey, I found,
I got it.
the bigger version of socks. And they're like, we have the other version of socks. We don't need that one.
Yes.
I'm like, no, no, I don't think you quite
This is more
understand.
show accurate.
Yeah, that was season 1 socks. This is season 3 socks. We need this in our collection.
That's a line. So like my kids have Bluey figures, right? But there's like a part of me like, maybe I should have my own Bluey collection. Maybe have a nice little get the house and get the
Yeah.
cars, and it'll just be really. I was like, no, that's you
Yeah.
love Bluey, and that's great, but you don't need to have a Bluey collection.
Especially if your kids are gonna find you playing with it and be like,
Yeah,
why are you playing with
yeah.
this?
This is
Like,
ours, Dad. What are you
all
doing?
right, you're right. I should be playing with my AWOC toys or whatever.
Yeah,
I have my own toys. I get it. Okay, I'll move.
yeah. But listen, I'll cry. We're damn near every episode of Bluey. I'll sit down.
I love that show. If you've never seen Bluey, if you're watching this, you've never seen Bluey, go watch one episode. They're 8 minutes long. It will change your
What
life.
what's your like one episode recommendation? Like what if like somebody that's uninitiated, who do you which episode do you recommend to them to watch first?
That's I don't even know, because they're like, I find myself, I've seen, everything that's been sort of put up. I've watched multiple times, because
Yep.
I find that on the second watching, the third watching, the 10th watching, I pick up something more from each episode.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a
Yep.
bad episode.
Yeah.
There's a couple episodes that I would say, don't start on, like the bingo episode, where you're kind of like, you don't quite know. But there's there's always a little nugget, a little life lesson in each one of them. And on any different day, the lesson hits me differently, kind of thing. Start at the beginning, right? Start season 1, episode 1.
Yeah.
Actually, this is a good shout, because I really do love this one as far as how they tell the story. Even at the end, Monsters from Beyond says the Creek episode, which is also camping. The camping. Oh no, he's thinking of the Creek episode. I'm thinking of the camping episode.
I'm thinking Jean-Luc. Is that the Jean-Luc episode?
That's the camping one. The Creek one is when the dad takes the kids that are bored at the playground.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
The woods. And, initially they're like, I don't know if we want to go into the woods. And then they find this, magical playground in nature, right? It's like somebody gets
the camping one, though. That's my one I recommend. Just it works on so many levels. Like one, it's just a beautiful story from beginning to end. And the end is just incredible. Like that one was the first one. I was just like, I would watch it with the kids, but that was the one I was like, am I crying?
Yes.
But then I watch or two later. The thing that hits me the most about that one is when Jean-Luc's already left and they're having the wee break, and the mother said, it's just sometimes people come into our life and then they're gone, and you're sad, but it's like, but you still have that time when you were together, and it was great. And that's like, even beyond just like what was in it, like, it's just, that's such a multi-level amazing thing. I don't know. It's just like, it was so beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, as a 40-year-old man, that's one of those life lessons that's like, it's so hard to kind of instill in people. And I think, I've sort of always felt that way. My sort of thinking is, don't be sad that something is over. Be happy that it happened, and that you have those memories. And watching that episode and sort of seeing how that all plays out, I was like, my kids are enjoying it. I'm like, this is what I've been trying to tell you.
Yeah.
They do such a good job. But anyway, we digress. That's
come back for Bluey cast.
Come for the chat and the graphs, and stay for the Bluey chat. Very, very quickly, I did want to. Jeremy in the comments has been banging on about Animal Warriors of the Kingdom, and I've been banging on about Animal Warriors of the Kingdom. I just very quickly wanted to give a shout out to eCollectibles.ca. They have posted now the Wave 3 figures for pre-order. So if you're in Canada, this is the spot to get them from. Among all the other lines that you can get from them.
Where do you get them from in America? I probably should learn that.
I would strongly recommend. No,
EE?
not BBTS. I would strongly recommend going direct through Spiro if you want, because that way, Spiro gets to sort of recoup the most margin. Alternatively, Helidope Toys, Ted Darklaw and Dark Knight from Helidope Toys are my guys. I love those guys. They've been very helpful to me when there's stuff in the States that I can't necessarily get. And I enjoy chatting with those guys. So anytime, basically the way to sort of get me as a loyal fan of your establishment is be nice to me and talk to me. Big Bad Toy Store, I've not had the best interactions with, but
that's fair. I don't have any interactions with them, to be honest, other than trying to get them to be like a what are the affiliate link thing with it. That way, even
Brick knows. I've not had great experiences with Big Bad Toy Store, but I mean, as a Canadian collector, there's always added layers of
for sure. You have the free healthcare, which is great, but then getting toys is a little bit tougher. But you saw
There,
Toys R Us.
there's
Can I just say, like, just I know it's expensive at Toys R Us. I get it, okay. But then I see like Toying Around posting the picture of all the like their new turtle display for the new movie, and it's just like, oh, it's like a new launch back when we still did that stuff in the States. And I went to Target this morning, and I'm there with Jonathan from Nostalgia Unboxed. And they literally had one set of the bad guys and like two of everything else, and that was it. And we went to multiple stores in the area. That was the only one that had anything.
And that was at opening. You guys didn't go, you know, late afternoon one day, just kind of strolling there.
We were outside before the doors open, and then we walked inside, and that's all they had. So anyway.
I was gonna, Jeremy just wanted to say that Dope Toys will tell you you're pretty upon request. I mean, if that's not good customer service, I don't know what is.
That's true.
But, anyway, that's about it. That's what we got for today. It's been an absolute pleasure. Jay, it's been great to kind of connect.
Same.
Face to face. Virtually, you know, notwithstanding. As I said, guys, over on Brick Something's channel, soon, I think 3:30 Pacific time, 6:30 Eastern time. It should be going
that's
up.
Coming up.
That's coming up. You know, that was sort of the time that we agreed on. So that's going to be premiering. There's going to be a live chat. I'm going to jump in that live chat if it doesn't go up at that time. Otherwise, stay tuned.
75% export.
75% export.
Down to the wire.
Other than that, Jay, you are going to be live in a few hours.
Yeah.
The link to Jay's channel is down below in the description. Let's be honest. Anybody that's watching this is going to be over there anyway. But if you're not, definitely check it out. Jay, any last words?
No, thank you so much for inviting me. This was an absolute blast. You know, not to invite myself on again sometime, but if you ever need me on again for anything, let me know. Well, I rarely have free time, but if I do, I'm there.
I will absolutely have you on again anytime you want. If I think of something, I'll let you know. If you think of something, let me know.
Perfect.
It's probably going to be Bluey chat, right? Let's be honest.
Yes. Whenever you do your Bluey episode, I am there.
But anyways, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for joining us. If you enjoyed, you know, please like the video, subscribe, all those you know, normal things. Hit the notification so that you know when the next one is. Spoiler alert, it'll be next Sunday at the same time. But
don't tell them that. Say you don't know. That's right, to hit the notification. You never know.
I do random live unboxing videos. That's my sort of, that's how I get the notification button.
Boom.
Thing. But yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure, Jay. It's been an absolute pleasure to everybody in the chat. If you're watching on replay, definitely appreciate you as well. Have a good weekend. We'll talk to you guys all again.